Try it again. Yeah, I think I did it right. Yeah, I think I did it right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, there you go.
So today is our week one. Perfect segue into it. And I
Yep.
will, number one, we're going to record this. This will be saved in your Google Drive, which I am not sure you actually got your Google Drive just yet.
I
This
have
will be
no idea.
updated in there. I will likely go in and out of this share because just for this one moment, I just want us to just have this on our focus for a second, just so we can outline what not only what we'll cover today. I should say day one, not week one. But you'll actually take everything that we learned today into your first week.
Okay.
And then, we'll do some practical work in between. So I'll go in and out of this. But we will focus on the first 2 weeks of the finding process of this. Today we'll cover a couple of these things, and if we can get to all of them in the next 40 minutes, because I will run through what I want to share and then at least leave the last 15-20 minutes to like really diving deep into your specific questions.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll get through all this. If not, we'll take it in the week 2. We'll cover for the first 2 weeks this whole finding process. And I'll walk you through once we figure out and have determined and outlined your buy box, then we'll go through some websites, some cool things that I don't think that you're actually like thinking about when it comes to the websites, getting to the
Okay.
point of like submitting the offer, and having some of these phone conversations. But I really want us to remember the goal. Like you said, I mean, I really love the fact that you were like, I might need to take off my W-2 so that I can
Mhm.
really focus on this. And I just wanted to remind you of that investment that you're making in yourself, in your time, in your money,
Yep.
that it is going to, in your future self will certainly thank you for what you're doing today. So as a reminder, this is our 6-week cohort. I'm your companion in this. We exchange the numbers. Use me when you need me.
Okay.
We will certainly cover multiple subject matters, all of relating to the finding, buying, and then innovating process of this. I'll share my documents, the other resources as far as the calculators, templates, scripts. I have that. You'll have access to my network as much as I can get them involved. I know that you are a part of SIB2, but I also am a part of the RPM community with Amy Majuri, and that will cover in 3 and 4 as
Okay.
far as like the funding and lending process.
Yes.
I will make sure that we leave here today with at least some action items for you to like work on and practice. I'll provide you with like the practical methods in which I have, used not only here, but in my other businesses, check in regularly. And then this online support when you need me, if you need me to have those conversations, to be on the phone with you, just listening in, reviewing these types of things. And
Okay.
I want the other part of this goal that I wanted to just remind you of is that you are essentially becoming a business owner in this process. And maybe after 6 weeks, you find out, I don't know if I want to do any of that. Maybe I just want to be on like a really passive side of it where you're just handing off your money, but it doesn't seem like that because, you've invested in yourself and actually learning in this process. And just,
Yes.
to remind you that there is the business in finding it. That's why we're breaking down, like there are actual businesses in just the, process of searching for these properties to create
Yep.
that lead generation. And then there's that business of acquisitions. And then there's the actual part of managing the property and then sustaining it. And I feel really confident in what I know and how I can help you in this process because I have done this for the last
Right.
10 years. I've started at the absolute lowest entry level into the business I was in and worked my way up into
Nice.
creating not only one business, but then doing it in a second business that was completely in a different industry than the one that I was in.
Wow.
That's just the proof to show you that once you learn these methods and ways of operating and being like the whole business owner part of it, you can plug this play into literally anything. Buy another business, laundromat, storage, go into
Nice.
other asset classes, multifamily, luxury, fix and flip, new
That's the
construction.
point. Yep.
There's just little specifics about each thing, which is why you take the time to just educate yourself on the things you don't necessarily know about those subject matters, and which is why we'll just focus in on the RV parks for now. But what you'll learn, you can absolutely plug and play into other areas that you
Love
see
it.
yourself in. Okay,
Okay.
cool. So let's move this along. So here is our outline. Like I said, we'll try to cover all of these today. The buy box, making sure you are going to walk away today with knowing where you want to have this, what you want to like, where you want to buy and what you want to buy.
Right. Okay.
Then I will take you through some websites. Some things are just very easy to understand, but there are some tricks that I can share with you and how I find this, because you have to get creative with finding RV parks. It's not like you can just go on Zillow and you've literally got
Right.
20,000 RV parks to search from in one state. Okay, so
Right. Right.
we've got to get creative with this, and we won't just take it with the websites, but there are oops maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but we won't just take it with the website, because there's other methods in which you can search that are offline.
Okay.
Maybe I kind of shared that with you.
I think
So
a little bit. Yeah.
okay, so let me ask you this. Have you, and I feel like you told me you've done your buy box, is this correct?
I think I started trying to do one. Now, like on your location, you say pick 1 to 3 states. Mine was bigger because I was just saying anything in like the Sun Belt states, but I probably should narrow that down a little.
Yeah, you wanna, so here's what I want you to remember about creating the buy box. And listen, again, you can take like these letters, laps, okay? You can take these
Right.
laps and you can literally put it into other things that you would want to buy. So in location, you want to narrow it down. And I say at least where you have your most connections for now. And as
Right.
you become a real estate investor, you're going to make, you're in sub two, you're in these communities, you're making, you're going to actually put yourself out there to brokers, to individual people, to make, like this guy Austin said, like I might have a few others. Well, what does he know about what you would want to buy?
Right. I don't think
Don't
we
just send me anything. And
right.
and one of the other things you would have had to figure out about Albin is, yeah, I know you have family from there, but who in Albin do you feel the most comfortable and trusting with running this business?
Yeah, I don't actually know anybody in Alvin. I just know people in Texas. Uh,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah. Like the reason why I had said Mississippi, I didn't choose all of Mississippi. I chose Meridian, Mississippi, because my mother is lived in that city. Now, one thing that you can think of, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, I'm gonna bring you out because I want you to think about this when you are
Okay.
looking for your location. All right, let's just take it to Meridian, Mississippi for a sec. Okay. So I'm going to take it to Meridian, Mississippi. There's nothing. Do you know
Okay.
anything about Mississippi?
I do actually, because I am from Texas.
Okay, where about? What do you know about Mississippi?
I just know it was my favorite state to spell in school.
Oh, okay.
And we would drive through there. I just remember driving through there a lot as a kid, but like actual knowledge of it, no. I do know Meridian just because it had come up, like when we were in school and stuff, but that's really it. Um,
Yeah.
It's in
So
the south.
yeah. So let me tell you about Meridian. There, if you can see, there's not a lot
Yes,
around in this
right.
simple view of this. We really have to scale ourselves out of this. And this is something when at first, when you're just kind of like RV parks, boom, Montana. You don't necessarily know where in Montana. So you'll start
Right.
looking at whatever's available in Montana. And so when you look at that city in Montana, let's call it Meridian,
Mhm.
Mississippi. Okay.
Right.
And this is your first time looking at it. And now I'm just at first glance like, man, Russell right now, Mississippi. How far is that? So now when you get to this, when you start to just at least get your idea of scale and location for where like these two are from one another, all right,
Right.
that's cool. So now you know within this drive here, this is a,
Oh, I can't see your screen.
oh gosh,
That's okay.
dude. Oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh. And I went into, okay. So I was showing you here, and then I typed in maps and I typed in
Yeah.
Meridian. Okay. And then I did Russell. So from here to Russell is about a 15-minute drive. So now
Okay.
just ideally you're thinking 15, the max you want to go out as far as a radius goes is an hour's drive,
Okay.
not 60 miles, an hour's drive.
Yeah.
60 miles can turn into like an hour and a half and an
Yeah.
hour and 45 minutes. That is too far of a drive. So when you just think of this drive, okay, what is within an hour's drive of Meridian? And you
Right.
want to at least have something in this hour's drive. So when you bring yourself out, Russell, Toomsba, here you go, nothing around here. This is at least 30 minutes. Maybe you go a couple, two more times out, and this is now far. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not even near a main city or attraction. Nothing
Right.
popping out from here. Okay. So that is when there is when at first when you haven't figured out your buy box and you're just kind of looking at anything, you don't know this city that this is in, and you're looking at first glance, this is your way of just figuring out like, would this even be something that's good, that it would attract people here? When you narrow down your buy box, you certainly want to start from the attraction,
Right. Okay.
from the area that you know of to be a good area for camping, recreational activities. And then that's how you will, then when you start to, because you can narrow down this location not only by states, you try to be even as specific as possible. You can even narrow it down by zip codes. Now,
Okay.
people that you send that out to, like they're probably not going to look at zip codes. So
Right.
nobody really cares about that. You yourself just need to know when you send out by states, because that's just the easiest for people to remember. Oh, Wendy is a California buyer. Oh, she's a
Yeah.
Texas buyer, not she's a 18415. Okay.
Exactly.
But for you, it's just for you to get, you as the business owner will want to get that in depth of the area that you're investing in,
Okay.
okay, for the future. So
Got it.
when I think, so then when I was looking, when I go to Inverness, number one, I'd never been to Inverness, Florida. Never in my life had I ever been to Inverness, Florida. But right at first glance, you bring me to Inverness, clearly there's some things happening in here.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the country club, there's a lot of water. When I bring myself out, 1, 2, 3, 4, like we did here, oh, it's near the shore. Actually, if you bring yourself just right over here, actually, I don't think it's that far away. This is where the park is. Let's just go to the park for a second. Okay, so the park is here.
Okay.
And now we're in here and here and here and here. and we bring ourselves just a little tad over, this right here is a major highway. Oh, where did
Oh, I see. Okay.
so here to here is a major highway. That's how they're traveling. They're traveling
Right.
on highway, 75, I-75, I-95, the turnpike. What are those major highways in the states that you want to be in?
Right. Okay.
Not only the attraction, okay, so when you think of location, it's not only the attractions, it's also your proximity to, accessibility, hospitals, grocery stores, airports, because if you buy an RV park that's got alternate stays where people don't necessarily need to bring in an RV, they're flying into this in order to, go and stay at your park.
Right.
So narrow it down for yourself. Okay. Not that you can't look at parks in other states, because maybe there are some things that will check out that'll check the box in some other areas. And that brings me to want to share this with you. Hold on. I don't know how my little guy snuck out. My fiance is supposed to be watching him right now, so I can
That's
be
okay.
on this 100% focus with you.
That's
So,
okay. I had to
um,
text my husband to go help dog. And he had to go get a dog. 'Cause he was sitting here whining. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to focus dog. So I get
well,
it.
that's why we'll do the record. Sorry, one moment.
You are fine.
Hey, Elijah. Oh, my little man. Ian. I don't know how he got in here, but
I locked the door. Come here.
go outside, go outside. Go outside, go outside.
I know.
They are toddler. How old is he?
Did you ask me how old he was?
Yeah.
2.
Okay. So perfect escape artist, right? That is like the age. I swear.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So here is just a little bit of an idea of how you even want to narrow it down by location in the state, because there's going to be greater, better areas, better territories of
Yeah.
this than others. Like, for instance, if you're investing in Florida, yeah, could an RV park be really good in Miami? But
Yeah.
I'm sure it could, you're likely, like, it's just not going to come around, on across the table as often as you will find, parks that'll just be kind of like densely populated in some specific areas where people would
Right.
really want to travel with their RV when you think of like RV traveling. So
Okay.
I narrowed it down by the territory of the state. You, then when we talked about amenities, okay, think of the most ideal, perfect park you could ever want.
Hmm.
And then what you want to do with that is just check or highlight your non-negotiables. Things where, no, I don't want to see it if it doesn't have a pool. No,
Yeah.
I don't want to see it if it doesn't have a rec hall. But at least have you've written down all of the things you could possibly want in that park, because believe it or not, you'll check off a lot of those boxes when when some of these good ones come on the market. Okay, so that's where I want you to over here. That's what I want you to think of when it comes to your amenities. Just literally write down every single possible thing you would want in the park, and then only check off some of the non-negotiables, or send only some of those non-negotiables for you. And
Okay.
sometimes you're going to have to make concessions of some of these things. For instance, let's come right here. Maybe it's not 10 acres, maybe it's 9.
Sure.
maybe it's not 27 pads, maybe it's not 30, but maybe it's 27 pads.
Right.
Okay. Maybe, you don't get the laundry, but you've got, at least an event space or vending machines when you're thinking that of like capital, as far as revenue, something to generate revenue from. You don't necessarily need to be around all of these activities, just settle on a couple of these things that you would like to have in your ideal park for yourself. All right.
Yeah.
And then determine your non-negotiables. Now,
I was
then
gonna say,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you know what you want in your park, but some of it's missing, would that be appropriate to use as a value add? I'm assuming.
100%.
Okay.
Great point. Absolutely.
Okay.
But then you also, that's when, that's when size is going to
Sure.
come into place that's why you'll need to go visit this and,
Yep.
get your eyes on where you can put this, how it would work. There's a couple of other factors, but 100% would those be value adds for you? Yes.
Okay.
Price. Get specific about your price. And when I say specific, you can even get specific of the way you would want to buy this park. And if you see here, I've even put, seller finance preferred. You could put seller finance only. Then you can even break it down by the way you would want a seller finance, which some people can break this down. Like, I want it on seller finance. I only want to put 10% down, 10-year balloon, and 3% interest rate. You can get that specific so that, and you would want to get that when you're working with brokers, when you're working with lead generation, when they're like, okay, what do you want? Okay, when you're having this conversation and you're trying to get me to be the buyer, this is what you already need to work out for me. Because if they're not going to be open to seller finance, if they're not going to, they're going to want 50% down, and that's like a non-negotiable. This might not be something that I would want to look at unless some of my non-negotiables over here have been checked off.
Okay.
You don't have to get this deep, and we're going to get deep into our next week. We'll get deep into the underwriting process so that you can understand that, reviewing the financials so that you can understand that, so that maybe that'll open up the idea of how you would want to break something down. But at very minimum, and you already know, you watched that one video about where you would want to be as far as a purchase price goes.
Yeah.
Compared to the revenue that you're looking at, you'll want to know as high as you want to go, but give a range, because you don't want to be too specific about price, because price is negotiable.
Yes.
So just at least get it into review, and then get it into review, and then work it down to where you will eventually be able to evaluate where you think would be a good purchase price for yourself.
Okay. All right.
All right. So you have not done your buy box yet.
No, not that specific. It was really just like, hey, at least 30 pads, minimum kind of 10 acres, that whole thing. But I hadn't done anything on price, and I hadn't done anything specific on location.
Okay.
That was,
Like-
really. Go ahead.
Like when you think of Nevada, let's just put out Nevada for a second.
Sure.
You absolutely will know Nevada well enough to know where would be a good area to travel to.
Yeah.
That is going to be different than some other areas.
Right.
I think
There's just not a lot of RV parks in Nevada.
exactly. Not a lot of RV parks in Nevada. Exactly. Not a lot of RV parks in Nevada. But if you can narrow it down by, hey, if you get anything that's in like northern Nevada or anything that's near, the Grand Canyon area, like, please, that would be something that you would be interested in.
Sure.
And then sometimes when it comes down to location, it's not terrible to look at a park that is along the highway. I think that that could be something where it works, whereas if you're at least on some sort of like main highway where this would be the spot that everybody would need to like park at for a night or two before they head out. It's something to review, but just know that that would be a very high transient place.
Yeah.
Because of the fact there would be nothing more than, unless you had amenities there that were really cool to stay at. But if you had nothing more around in the area, it would be more, you know, pretty high traffic for a turnover at the RV park.
Have you seen these franchises that are starting to go around? I think there's only 2 of them so far, but it's basically off the freeway, but it's all there's nobody that works there. It's all completely like done through technology. So you can stop and you do it all online. There's cameras, everything. It's like that's a cool little franchise if you're going to do something on the side of the road, because then there's nobody you have to pay except maybe some maintenance once in a while to go mow.
Yes. That's actually funny you brought that up. There was a girl that did bring that up to me. And it was a competitor of the park that she was looking to buy. The guy was like, yeah, you should see that park. The park, nobody has to be there. Uh,
Yeah.
and they did have some really cool amenities though. Like that would, even though like their whole check-in process and everything was remote, they really had some really cool amenities that kept the people there for a longer time. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
And here comes Elijah. Yeah. So yeah, looking at that RV storage is great. I mean, RV storage, I'm sorry.
But that's great too.
I thought of storage because that's how storage essentially works, is
Yeah.
completely 100% remote, but it is good. That would be heavily on the financials.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Elijah's very mad. He can't get to me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually let you, that will be one of your action
Okay.
items, is to complete this buy box. And I think this is gonna work because I want to get into this next subject so that you have these two to go hand in hand. So that once you figure out this buy box, determined it, settled on it, settled, like this is what you,
Yeah.
okay? Then you will take it into now actively looking and putting yourself out there of finding this one. All right.
Okay.
Because when you came into the group, you know, it was like, I want one of these things. And how do I get it? Now you're going to go back into the group. This is what I want. Send this to me so that you
Yeah.
can. Okay. So the websites. All right. Websites are going to be your mode of finding them offline. It is one of the best ways, if not the best way, to lead gen is over the phone dialing, because you will get to more potentials over the phone than you can driving or being in person.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So I would suggest that this is a high focus for you. And I don't just want to limit it to like, oh, this is a website I can go to. I'm going to show you how you will find leads, because you're going to need to look outside of more than just what's being advertised, which is the point I was trying to explain, and how you need to get creative with this. Okay. So, here are some of the websites. All right. And you write this down. Again, we'll share this video. But it is also, and you might have already done this, just as simple as you typing in RV parks for sale. This is what I did. Okay.
Yep.
But obviously I know of a couple of these sites, but this is exactly what I did when I was searching for them offline. All right. And you got Crexy. That's the way that you found this one. Good website.
Yep.
I want you to keep in mind, one of the reasons why I don't necessarily like the online market stuff is because they're inflated, as you found out from this guy, you know, like it wasn't just, it was in, you know, it was a little bit more, in my opinion, of what the owner wanted and then also what the broker wanted. So, you know, they want to make their money too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
LoopNet, okay. You've got RV park sales. The problem is when you start to get into the online marketplaces that are niche for RV parks, there's like a handful of them. So
Yeah.
let's look at Texas for a second. Okay. And let's try this one. And you're a buyer. Don't be afraid to also like, oh, that was one thing I wanted to make sure you had. And I don't know if you I actually think you have a pretty good email. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you had a good email address when you're sending out some of this stuff. Because you will be either getting you know marketing from
Mhm.
brokers. And so
Right.
just make sure that you don't, you know, it's not like juicy girl.
No, no, it's literally my name.
Yeah, it's a good
I
one.
am old enough to just have my name and no numbers.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, so look, filtered RV park, Texas, nothing on RV park sales.
Yep.
Okay, campground, marketplace, same thing. All right, it's going to be, man, it's going to be very, I think, is it the campground marketplace? We can try
The
the
campground connection.
there, you can try the campground connection. The campground connection. So the campground connection, they only label it by regions. They won't tell you the actual city that it is in. So look, I'm not even gonna go.
Yeah,
I'm not
right?
even thinking, okay, not in here. They, you know, they usually kind of focus over in here, but even if you were to, let's just pick any one of these really quick. Let's just pick the Northwest just to show you.
Yeah.
It'll just kind of give you just the region. It'll show you some pictures. It'll break down some of the amenities at the park, and then it'll ask you to call in. Now, still something to look at, because sometimes the price that's listed is worth paying if the financials are checking out, the property's what it's worth, and it's in a really good location that would bring people there, you know, all year
Sure.
round. So don't put it out your mind. Now, here's where you have to get creative, because you can see you're going to be extremely limited with what was it? The parks and places, RV park sales, campground marketplace. These guys, you're going to get stuck. Even with Crexy, even with LoopNet, you're not going to find a lot, even with Biz Buy Sell. And I'm not sure if did you ever see the video where I broke down Biz Buy Sell?
Yes. Yeah. You
Okay.
said that was where you got your first one from?
Yeah. There's a specific way to actually filter down for RV parks, but regardless, still not going to be a lot of options for you.
Right.
Here are where, in my opinion, all of the options are, or a lot of the options. And it's a website called Good Sam. And Good Sam is specifically for recreational reasons. Okay, campgrounds, rentals. It's got a couple of other items on here in which you can you know, review not only as the owner of a park, but even the owner of an RV. All right, and here's the trick. The trick is you come into find the RV parks and campgrounds, and let's go to Texas. Okay, we're gonna go tap into Texas for a second. And we're gonna click search. Searches. So Good Sam for RV parks is kind of like a grading website for travelers to review the park that they're
Got
gonna go
it.
to. Okay.
Okay.
Why did this not come up? Texas. Can I just pick all of Texas? Why can't I just pick all of
Wants to let you.
Texas?
Texas is good.
Colorado. Okay, let's put maybe I'm just gonna pick Dallas, Texas. Something to just get my search in. Maybe there's not available. Okay. Here's Texas, Texas, Texas. All right. So here, I don't know why I got all these screens going on in your face here. All right, clean it up. So here is where people will look at your park, figure out, look at some reviews, but they will trust this same as like
Mhm.
the way they would trust Google. They trust this a little bit more because people are also, this is like an association. You have to abide by certain rules. This Good Sam will come and like review, make sure your park is up to these certain standards. And when you are searching for parks, you're looking for park improvements. So you're not looking for the 10s and 10s and 9s. You're looking for a park who is going to be graded differently. And you're going to use this sort by, and you're going to choose, and you're going to look at the facility rating. And you're going to sort by the facility rating because when you, as it loads here, you've got facility rating, you've got the restroom rating. I think it also had appearance rating. Actually, let's try appearance rating. I don't know why this is taking so long. This little update.
Reading a 10 in Texas?
10. Well, while that is trying to
Oh.
look for me here,
Yeah. There's one that's like a 7.
yeah, but you can get some real low ones, which is,
Really?
yeah, well, I'm trying to just, I guess, show you here. And I don't know why it's just taking, my computer's just taking a little bit of a second to change these things. While it's going, the point is you find low ratings and then you call the park. Okay.
Okay.
And you call, and I'm gonna hopefully get to, that's one of the things we're gonna get to, is how you would open up this conversation for somebody like essentially a cold calling. And
Yeah.
would cold call a park who does not actually have it listed, but clearly is going through some trouble. Their ratings are bad. They could use some improvements. And likely if you've got low appeal in one area, you likely have got low numbers in others. And
Yeah.
so it could be the scenario where you find yourself someone who is open to talking about selling their park, and then you just now take them down a little bit, a path of exploring that idea with you. It is going to take you having these conversations with not only people that actively want to sell, but people who may not have just put it out there yet, and you will find them. So I specifically I tried this, I was doing this way, I was doing biz by the online, the marketplaces. But I also bought leads, and I'm not telling you to buy leads, but what I am sharing that with you is that it was just another way of me dialing, cold calling people that had no idea, just wasn't top of their mind to sell their park. But when I called and brought it up, I had a number of people who were either A, interested, or B, were selling. And they were like, actually, yeah, I do want to sell my park. I'm selling it for, and 2 million, and just a couple things didn't work out specifically with that park owner because he had just renovated the property. So it was already in a turnkey scenario.
Right.
And I didn't want to pay the premium for what he had done. I really wanted to find something that I would be able to do that too. So with cold calling, you will absolutely find the people that were like, yeah, let's talk about it. Maybe I'm busy right now. Can you call back on another day? Or the people are like, absolutely, that's actually what I would like to do. And you can take that another step forward. Okay. And the reason why it's also the best case scenario is because now you're avoiding any sort of extra commissions that'll come from the broker. You're the one that's direct to seller. You'll have, a little bit more of negotiating power than you would on the marketplace.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is like an even simpler way. is just pulling up Google Maps and typing in when you go to, when I say Florida, I can just, type in RV parks nearby. And it's going to take my location because this is where I'm at over here. And it's going to show me some local RV parks. And then you can see over here, now this is not going to be Good Sam, but these are reviews on Google. And this is a 2 points, this is a 2.5, and this is a 2.5. And so this is a 1, and you open these up, and then you want to spend some time when you are the one that is when you're opening up the door to talking to a potential seller, you're the one that before you even make a phone call to these people, if you're going this particular route, you want to take a look at it for a second. Paradise RV Park doesn't even have a website. That's a value add. That's an immediate value add, because if they don't have a website, they have no way of marketing themselves onto the World Wide Web to let people know that they are there. And so you will, going down this route, this is, I would probably say a little bit more of a manual labor behind this part, because you're digging. This is you sifting. This is you, definitely trying to look around. And here's then what I would say to you is that you not only have the websites, not only will you dial, you will then need to physically put yourself out there. And that could be in 2 ways. That could be you going to your local areas and driving in and walking into the office and having a very similar conversation that you would have if you were talking over the phone. What's cool about going through that route is it gets you into it builds a muscle of what to look out for. It will also just enhance you having communication with business owners.
Right.
And you could potentially come across a gem right next to you.
Yeah.
So you try all of those ways. And then the final way is you will absolutely put yourself out there in the Facebook groups. You can dial on some commercial brokers in the area. I just want to send you my buy box, or do you have any RV parks for sale? And then give them a little bit of an outline of what you're looking for. And so you will go through those ways when, just sharing, going back to my screen, when you have figured out your buy box.
Okay.
Okay. Now, 10 minutes. I want to give you this last little part so that I can give you a talk track of how to initiate the conversations when you are calling the RV park owners or when you are calling the brokers. And I have a little bit of an outline here for this script. Here. Here. I should have had this pulled up, but let me just, here. Wrong email, here. Here. And I will actually share this with you so that you can then take this offline, practice it.
Okay.
This will be you opening the door for opportunities that have not expressed any interest in selling, because it's a little bit easier to have the conversation with the park that is selling. But when you're actively looking for it, it'll be a little bit more of a conversation. And so they'll answer. hello, and you will respond back with immediately trying to figure out if the person over the phone is the owner of the park. So you'll
Right.
get right into, hello, this is Wendy. Good day. Are you the park owner? Are you the owner of the park? This way, and this will immediately force a response out of them, which is either going to tell you, no, I'm so and so, or yes, I am. How can I help you? Yes, I am. Who is this? Or maybe they don't. Sometimes owners, they will get a little bit of defense and they'll just say, who's asking? Who's calling? And then sometimes and not sometimes, which is why you will either follow up if it is the owner, see if this is the owner, it'll say yes. You will follow up with who you are, and then the open question directly as to whether or not they'd be open to discussing them selling the park. And eventually you reintroduce yourself again of who you are, where you're from, and what you're looking to do, because you need to get to these points very quickly because they did not expect this phone call.
Right.
Okay. So, and you want to slowly get into your main reason for calling, because if they are not the park owner, then you will just want to end that conversation right there. You don't want to waste your time with a gatekeeper who may or may not pass this message along. You'll want to find out from the gatekeeper almost immediately, okay, when will they be in? I want to give them a call back. They'll either tell you yes or no. If before they just hang up and completely, just end that conversation. You don't need to waste your time with gatekeepers, especially because no one knows why you're calling. And so you don't need to waste your time with anyone that isn't going to give you some direct answers about the reason why you're calling. I also break this down in another video. So I'm going to just write for myself that I give you this script and then this other video, which I'm not sure you actually saw a part.
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to send both the video and the script because I break it down quickly. I break it down like this really quickly. And I want to save that. I'll send that to you in your Google Drive because it is like a 10-minute video and I don't want to spend too much time. I do want to just answer any more questions that you have about it. And let you kind of like get to the work. So the framework essentially is that you have an assumptive intro, which is what I was explaining to you, which is get right to are you the decision maker?
Right.
And then you want to, if they are the decision maker, just explain the reason why you're dialing and ask if they're interested or open to the idea of selling the park. If they are, so now they are the business owner, yes, they're open to this conversation, you're going to want to quickly reintroduce yourself again, because now you know for a fact you're speaking to the business owner. You'd like to present yourself now in just a little bit of a different light. Here's your opportunity to just build some quick rapport. Reintroduce yourself, establish that authority, letting them know who you are, you work with. I said in these words, over here, that, you're based out of Nevada, you're looking for RV parks to buy, whether you want to sell in 30 days or 6 months, have you had conversations about selling before, or are you actively trying to sell? Reestablishing the authority of the fact that you are a buyer and you are calling to have a discussion as to whether or not they want to sell their park. And it's a good question to ask if they have thought about selling their park, because if they have thought or have gone down this process of selling their park, they might actually just hang on the line a little bit more.
Right.
If they haven't, they're like, no, actually, I've never thought about this. Now you're going to have to be really quick with the next part here, which is, okay, if you don't mind, let me ask you a few questions just to find out some other specifics about the park. And then we'll go ahead and we'll schedule another appointment after I've looked this over so that I can have a better educated conversation with you about selling your park. And you'll want to ask some qualifying questions that I've outlined here, because the qualifying questions are based on your buy box.
Okay.
Okay. So how long have you owned the park? That's just a good question to ask. But is it on city utilities? Are you on well? Are you on septic? Do you have a rec hall? Do you have a clubhouse? Is there a pool? Do you have additional land to build on? What price are you looking to sell your property? What's the total revenue that you did last year? Net profit? Do you have access to some of these financial reports? Great. I'm going to take this information back and get back to you with an offer. What's a good time tomorrow to discuss the offer further? Now, sometimes you might not get through all of these qualifying questions, and that is going to depend heavily as to whether or not you were able to build quick rapport in your reintroduction to get them to just, I like this person, I'm going to hang on for a second. This is great. And that is also built with your sense of urgency and understanding that, hey, I know I just actually kind of called you out of the blue about this, and I don't want to waste actually too much of your time, but because I don't want to waste your time, I want to find out whether or not this is a good buy for me as well. So I just need to ask you a few questions just to make sure you have some things that in order for me to review and find out some things about the property that, I would want to look into. And so
Right.
just kind of setting that stage really quick so that you can get through all of those qualifying questions. You may or may not get to that point, but the idea is that you will at least have a good enough idea as to whether or not you want to schedule
Yeah.
another appointment.
Yeah.
Not them, because if you get to qualifying question and then they're like, I want $5 million and it's out of your buy box. Okay. All right, no problem. I'm not sure this is going to be, actually going to fit within my range, but thanks for taking your time with me today. If, I have any further questions, I can call you back, and then you hang on from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Like if there's just some things that just are just like, if they have, 2 sites, 5 sites, just things that are just, not really, that are just not going to do it for you, then you can just, thank you so much. I actually don't want to waste your time. I'm not sure whether or not this will be, something that I can take a lot of more time into looking into. So
Sure. Yeah.
thank you.
So what if you're in an area, like what if the area you pick, like say Miami, right? I'm assuming that would probably have different costs or, selling costs, I guess, versus Meridian, so,
Good
so
point.
I guess you would have to come up with your buy box based on
The
that.
range.
Yeah, the range. Because I'm from GFW, so I've seen, parks there going for like 14 million. Obviously, that's a little more than I'm, wanting to jump at in my first one. But some of those, because the land is normally so cheap, they probably got these huge parks and have just over the years gained all this, of course, equity and, just their prices have, jumped. So it's hard to, I guess, determine unless you're in that area and doing the research, I guess, to figure out what's a good range.
So you're going to want to figure out what's a good range of what you would be able to handle. So
Okay.
14 million, that's certainly going to require an amount
Yeah,
of funds.
that's not me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. No,
I know.
but that's just exaggerating the fact, like, yeah, just know the scale in which you would need to come to acquire that park. And that will come with the scale of operations and funds and just a whole team of people to help you get to that point. You would be able to absolutely handle $1 million park
Yeah.
that, has managers in place. Maybe it's in close proximity to people that you trust to help you with that process.
Sure.
You will likely have maybe somebody a part of this process with you, if not your husband, but maybe where your family is. Maybe those are the people that you try to help a part of this process. Maybe not. But what will you be able to handle for yourself? What would, and when you think of it, you can't think 1 million, oh my God, I can't get to 3 million. No, a $3 million property, when you look at like a 20% down payment on that, what is that? 500,000?
20%, just, it's about 600.
Okay,
Yeah.
600,000. Now, when you start to get up in the higher numbers, this is going to be more of a turnkey property.
Right.
So 600,000 seems reasonable, possibly, as long as, if it's going to be the fact where I'm going to put in 600,000 and now I don't really have to do much to the property, I'm going to be getting a return on my money every single month. It's going to cash flow day one. Might not be something to, to pass over.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
But
I know.
go ahead.
Okay, I know, when I posted that, everybody's like, well, you have to determine whether you're going to manage it yourself or have somebody else manage it. So I already know I'm going to have somebody else manage it. No, even if I were there, I would want to obviously learn how to do that, but somebody will have to, because I have disability and I cannot manage my own properties if I want to keep my disability. So
Well, remember, Wendy, the goal is that you would be a business owner. This is
yeah,
not for you to go from one W-2 to the other.
exactly.
You maybe it's a part-time job for a second, but that is not the idea. And I don't mean part-time job in which you're there and you're actively running it. That's not the
Right.
idea. I mean, and like you could be putting in some elbow grease.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
maybe you take 2 weeks to go to the park and like, you're there, but no. That is the goal is for you to be a business owner, and you
That's what,
will
yeah, that's
not
what
be
I
able.
like.
Yeah. And a business owner like that is, that is not in the business.
Yes. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. So
Cool.
I don't have the link to the drive.
Yeah. I'm going to
Um,
get the drive over to
yeah,
you.
so if you could do that, that would be great. And then, yeah, I guess I'll just start making some calls.
So first, you need
box.
to figure out your buy box. Yeah,
Okay.
you'll need to figure out your buy box first, okay? And then once you figure out your buy box, remember your laps, all right? Figure out your location, narrow it down, try to
Right.
be not too specific, but at least not so broad,
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, and then figure out those things that you want in the park, the price range of what you will be able to handle. And what I mean you will be able to handle is what would you feel comfortable even raising an amount. So we'll get to that part in like the buying process, because we can find
sure.
private money lenders, we'll talk about hard money lenders, we'll talk about all other ways, the conventional route of doing things, we'll talk about all the ways in which you will have to acquire the property, but what will Wendy be able to handle? Sometimes you might not, for instance, I bought my park. I did not have to come out of pocket more than $15,000 to actually close on it.
Okay,
I put 10,000 down as the EMD, and then I spent another 5 in inspections. And then the rest of the down payment came from my private money partner and a private money lender.
nice. Okay, perfect.
Cool.
Yeah,
So you just think of, where you'll feel comfortable in, in raising and getting that money.
okay.
Then that'll help you narrow in on the price. Once you figure out the buy box, go all the ways that I just told you. Put it in the Facebook groups immediately. That's a simple post. This is what I'm buying. Okay, that's a simple post. Get it out there. And then you can even, if you want to also just kind of send it out there again, look into some commercial brokers in the state that you want to, in the area that you want to buy in. And
Right.
kind of get that out there too, so that you've got feelers out there before you start dialing or driving.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. That works.
All right. And then, so the next week, like I said, so the next week, we'll actually kind of wrap up a little bit of this part, is what does that offer look like? You'll likely need to find, you'll likely sign some NDAs. Don't be scared about that. There's nothing freaky about that.
Yeah.
You know, requesting what you should review in your financials before you even go out to the park, and we'll dive deeper into the underwriting process. I know you watch those videos. So I will get you into the drive. I'll send it over this recording once it's done downloading. I'll get you over the
Okay.
script. And then send that script video that I did, just kind of summarizing everything that I just talked about as far as the framework should go when you're talking to them.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Cool, Wendy.
Right. Okay, just real quick, because I didn't even think about this, but because I am doing the challenge later today, have you used AI? Because I know you're in the owner.
I have it.
Yeah. So have you used it for RV?
It doesn't, I can't, so it's still, prop.ai is still in beta phase.
Right. I figured that's what
And-
we're here for. It's just the beta.
Yeah, it's still in beta phase, and it's still only, the way she talks is like she's only talking to a homeowner. She
Yeah.
does not ask the questions like I have in that script, as far as like asking for city utilities and things like that. And I've tried to adjust it. It just hasn't done it quite yet. So I
Yeah.
will actually be on that call too.
Okay.
Because one of my Mount Everest goals is setting the lead generation business up, because I will need deal flow with as big as my goal is. I just constantly need that coming to me. So I've got the prop.ai, we'll put in the leads, and then I want to, like, you know, just have deal flow coming through in all the different asset classes, not,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
not just the RV parks, but even the single family homes. So let's try that out. And then eventually we'll move into business and multifamily. So
Yeah, I was hoping to possibly use that for TC as well, because I'm also in top tier TC.
oh,
So I was
cool.
like, that would be really cool to send it to people and say, hey, look, instead of just everybody getting on to sub two and going, hey, hire me,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So yeah, that looked like it would open a lot of lead gen for different stuff. So I'm curious how that's gonna work as well. So cool. Okay. Well, if I can find a way to make it work, I'll let you know.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome, Wendy.
All
This
right.
was a
Thank
great
you.
call. Remember, buy box, and then start dialing on some leads. Get yourself out there with
Good.
your buy
Will
box.
do.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.